neje na jebo onye meje ni kajenti iluzie solunu akuna bini inata kwala inakwazio kama ya neno wambono okungwali boy kajenti iluzie bulua onye mebezi na nibo okungwali boy kajenti iluzie wolo na mwanne mebe onye mebezi na nibo.
Oh yes, mwanne mebe zina okungwali igbo ekachi enti jebe. To our African community in Chicago, before I put on my tie properly and get into this topic, okungwali igbo translates to what I've been telling you. Okungwalu nubo unukachi enti jebe. The things I've been telling you and you just don't listen. We have to stop this fundraising craze. We need to plan properly. We need to invest in life insurance. Okungwalu nubo. Now let me put on my tie properly and make it professional and start my presentation. Hello, once again, this is Fred Wankwa coming to you from our studios in Chicago with another edition of Bold Talk on Allen TV. Yes, today it's even going to be more bold because I'm going to be talking about something many of our people through the years have preferred to avoid or flat out reject for whatever reasons. And that's life insurance. It bothers me because if you live in major cities across America, Chicago, Detroit, Atlanta, New York, LA, San Francisco, San Diego, Dallas, Texas, Boston, Washington, D.C., Baltimore, and the suburbs around them. And there are many more cities, but I'll just focus on those. I don't think a week goes by, and sometimes almost on a daily basis, lately, that we are now receiving messages about fundraisers to raise money to bury people who live in America, not people who died in Nigeria. And many of these people are past 30 years old. And you ask yourself, why don't they have life insurance? Don't get me wrong. In our culture, especially in the Igbo culture, when somebody dies, friends and family, friends especially, visit to pay respect to the life that the person lived and to honor the family that he or she leaves behind. And in the Igbo culture, in the process of doing that, we come with things. A lot of times those things are money, and for people who can't afford money, they do what they can in kind. That's normal. What's not normal is for somebody you don't know to be hounding you and putting your name in a list to contribute to bury somebody you don't know. It's honestly aggravating, to say the least. But I understand why they do it. They're doing it because if they don't raise those funds, it becomes very difficult. But my question is, in a society where they have tools to make these things easy when they happen, and one of those tools is life insurance, how come our people are not investing in life insurance? Do we even understand that when you invest in life insurance at a much younger age, that the premiums can be very, very infinitesimal? I mean, they are really of no consequence compared to the rest of your bills. And in that case, what I'm saying is that if you buy very good life insurance, 250,000 before age 40, 45, and even 50 or 60, your premium is going to be less than $250 a month. If you buy it at 30, 40 years old, your premium could be as little as $90 to $120 a month, depending on how you structure the policy. And if you buy the cheap term insurance, which I advise that if you do, that you try to convert it to the real thing soon, because if not, in the end, it becomes a waste of money. But if you buy cheap life insurance, which is also good because you could die tomorrow. And if you have cheap life insurance, it pays. It doesn't matter how little you put into it. At 50 years old, you could buy cheap life insurance, $500,000 worth of it, for less than $50 a month, if not less than $35 a month. And the question becomes, why are you not doing it? Why are more people not doing it? And I think we are not doing it because, number one, contrary to the macho we exhibit, Africans, when it comes to financial planning, are selfish. And when I say selfish, I mean that they like to pass the buck. They think it's somebody else's responsibility when they die to take care of their funeral. And I say that's wrong. That's wrong, and that's irresponsible. It's your responsibility to take care of your family alive and dead. When you married that wife, or when you married that husband, and both of you had those children, and the grandchildren that follow, it's your responsibility to guide them and take care of them, whether you live or you die, especially if those children are before college graduation age. It's your responsibility. And do you know the shame you put on your family, the shame you put on your wife and your children, or your husband and your children, if something happens to you and they don't have the money to bury you, and they have to put up a list and desperately start sending out WhatsApp messages for people to come and raise money to bury you, $50, $100, $200, that gets tiring. It is tiring. It's time to do the right thing. And I'm here to tell you that there are a lot of ways to buy life insurance without spending too much money. And if you end up spending too much money, it's because you put yourself in the position not to buy it when you were younger, but to buy it when it's late or no late. It's your responsibility. You need to do it. Enough of biting our tongues. Ndi Igbo sị na meji felewe no kwala. I'll say what I need to say because Bold Talk on Island TV, it's not about saying what you want to hear. It's about saying what needs to be said. I make these presentations, and I've been making them for the last 5 or 6 years, and not a single time have I asked anybody to call me to buy life insurance. I've always ended my discussion saying, call a financial planner. If Fred Nwankwo's style is a style you don't like, to hell with Fred Nwankwo. It has nothing to do with me. Call a financial planner and implement a life insurance program for your family that will make life easy for your family after you die. Now let's look at the other side of it. Life insurance is not about life and death. Life insurance can be about the living. if you buy a good life insurance program, there's something in it called cash value. Those are living benefits where it's not in 6 months, it's not in 1 year. It's just like when you buy a house. When you buy a house during the first 10 years, you notice that much of what you're paying in is going into interest payment. The same thing with life insurance. During the first 10 years, most of the money you put in is going into the cost of life insurance. After about 10 years, you're going to find out that if you cancel that policy, it hasn't cost you a penny. You could get all the money you put into that plan after about 10 years. And from that point on, it starts rising to the point where your life insurance program, because you're blessed to live a long life, could also become part of your retirement planning, because at 65 or 70, if you've been paying into it since you were 30, you could turn around and tell the company, you know what, my kids are grown. I don't need that life insurance anymore. I'll leave it in force, but out of my whatever your cash value is, depending on how you put into it, you could have hundreds of thousands. But let's say you have $60,000 of cash value in it. You could take out $60,000 cash value. Your death benefit could, if you took out a $250,000 life insurance and continue to pay your premium, if you die a week after you took out the cash value, they'll pay your family $250,000 minus the $50,000 you took out in a life insurance policy loan. But if you flat out cancel it, you take that money and walk. They cancel the policy. But there's something else that's built into many of the policies that I've been selling in the last few years, and it's called the critical illness benefit. That benefit is a benefit where, for instance, you lose one of your 6 daily activities of daily living, which are sight, smell, taste, movement. There are 2 more. Nurses and doctors should know what these are. If you lose those things and you're disabled, your life insurance can start paying you 10% of your total benefit on a monthly basis until you use up the plan or until you say you no longer need it. That means that if you have a $100,000 policy, for instance, they'll start paying you $10,000 a month until you use it up. So it becomes a living benefit. But let's leave that part alone. Let's address the issue that's more critical, which is the avoidance issue, where you pretend you don't know you don't have it and all that. You need to have it. And part of the way people pretend is they say, oh, I'm covered at work. Good. You're covered at work, but you need your personal life insurance too. The reason being that 9 times out of 10, you don't die during your working years. So at the time when you need that coverage that you have at work, it's no longer going to be existing. You are no longer going to be covered. So what if you work till age 65 and you leave work and you die at age 67? If you haven't made arrangements to continue the payment of the premiums on that work insurance, you're not going to be covered. And when you have it at work, you're paying almost nothing for it because it's a cheap term policy. So they may be taking out $10 a month every 2 weeks from your check, and you have $100,000 or whatever you have. When you leave work, you can keep that policy. It's portable, but your premium is not going to be $20 a month. They're going to recalculate that premium based on permanent life insurance, and the same thing you're paying $20 a month for, maybe you need to start paying $200 a month from. And if you can't afford that, it's going to lapse. So stop pretending that you have insurance at work so you don't need life insurance. It's a cap out. You're making excuses just to avoid a responsibility you should take care of. The same thing with term insurance. I sell a lot of term insurance. Term insurance is a good thing, but it's temporary insurance. Temporary meaning if it's a 5-year term, it's for 5 years. If it's a 10-year term, it's for 10 years, 20 for 20, 30 for 30. If you live past the term, you have no coverage. Regardless of how little you put into it, what you put into it is gone. But at the time your family need it, you don't have it. Folks, make a long story short. You need life insurance for your family to bury you and live after your death. They have rent to pay. They have mortgage to pay. They have car notes to pay. They have college fees to pay and all the other things they have to pay. But they also have to take you home. If you have $100,000 insurance, I'm even being liberal. I'm not talking about those of you who have nothing. That's a lost case that needs to be addressed because that's very irresponsible. But if you say you have good insurance, that you have 100,000, lifting you from here to, let's use Nigeria for example, is going to cost you on the low 15,000, on the high 25,000, if not more, depending on how long you stay in the morgue. Now, when they get you home, that's not the end of it. There are festivities that go with it. On the low end, if it's a very low-key burial, it's going to cost $5,000, $10,000. If it's flamboyant, which many want to do, after all, you live in America, the big shot from America, it could take another $20,000, $25,000. So of the $100,000 insurance you have, how much are you really leaving your family? 20, 30, 40? How long is $40,000 going to last your family? How comfortable are you for your wife and children, or for your husband and children, to deal with the holding their heart and praying that when they put out that Zelle notice that people respond? What if people don't respond? They're going to go begging and borrowing to bury you. They got to pay what they borrow. Folks, it is outright irresponsible not to own life insurance. All of us, not just me, should be tired of Zelle solicitations to bury people who died in America. It takes a lot of guts and professional instinct for me to do what I'm doing, because I know that if I die tomorrow, people will be checking to see how much I left for my family. That's fine. It's fine. But adeji mbabu agalogo. That's what Igbos say. Adeji mbabu agalogo. And what it translates to is, because people are going to die in a war, shouldn't prevent you from fighting a just war. So because people are going to be upset, and many of the men who are shying away from their responsibilities of owning life insurance are going to be upset that I'm doing this video for the world to see, doesn't stop me from making a presentation which is incumbent on me as an investment advisor in the community and a life insurance person in the community. It's incumbent on me to bring these things out. It's now your responsibility to take it or leave it. Let's do the right thing, guys. Let's stop going to meeting after meeting after meeting and party after party after party and talking all the things that are as irrelevant as possible, that bring nothing to our community. Let's start focusing on things that bring things to our community. Regardless of what your position is in our community, bring your ideas to our community. Tell us what we need. I'm bringing mine. And I bring this because if you don't think I should be saying it, stop sending me Zelle messages if you're not going to listen to me and my solutions to minimize, if not avoid, making people have to respond to your need to raise money for you. Let's do the right thing. When people die, we know the right thing if we have affiliations to the person. We know that we need to respond and help their family deal with their loss. But it's not our responsibility to be thrown into every Zelle thing that is out there because somebody has your phone number and it's not nice. It's not fair. Realistically, it's irresponsible because you're putting somebody who has nothing to do with the situation at hand in a position for you to judge him that he did not respond when I sent you stuff. You don't know what their responsibilities are. And if they give you that money out of shame, you don't know what bill they are not paying because you've put them in a position where they had to fele and give you something when they have other things to do with the money. Folks, call your life insurance agent. Call your financial advisor. Sit down and have them show you how you could implement a life insurance program to help your family. It makes you a better man that the day you die, that your family could look up and know that they are going to mourn you and cry because they love you. But they are not crying because they are wondering how they are going to pay your bills because you did not do the responsible thing you need to do while you were alive. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I have to do what I have to do as a professional. Once again, this is Fred Nwankwo coming to you from our studios in Chicago. And I hope that's enough food for thought for our community. And I'm glad I can say that I kept stressing this thing from time to time. And hopefully someday it will take hold and our people will start doing the more responsible thing and stop doing the more irresponsible thing, which is leaving the responsibility of our burial to friends instead of planning how our family can respectfully put us to rest when the day comes. Thank you very much and good night.
Onyamedeni kanti Diluzie soluno akona bini Inata kwala Inakwaje kama yana no womono Okungwali boy katienti iluzie bulo onye omebezi na nibo ogungwali igbo ikachizie ntijebe iluzie wolo n'anya nwanne mebe n'ebe onye omebezi na nibo